started my stream. Am I good? I feel like I'm good. Streamlabs, you there? Are you there? Are we good? Are we good? Oh boy. Okay, there we are. Let me check. Beep. Boop. Okay, we are. I did a bunch of stuff with OBS trying to fix something, so it's probably broken more at some point. Who knows? Oh, this is interesting. I'm like scared. I don't know why I am. I really want to read this book. I really love Roman torchwork and Neapolitan. It's like the backstory of it. Oh god. It's been so long since I actually read a story out loud. I got tea. It's nice. Alright, let me just... Oh, I swear. My dyslexia started acting up. It'd be really bad. Okay. Chapter 1. Imaginary Friends. Early in the morning, on her 8th birthday, Trivia Vanilla chased the wild, pink-haired girl to the still dark rooms of the mansion. The quiet time belonged to them. The best friends often played tiptoe tag at night after Mama and Papa went to bed. One of them, who was it, had to catch the other girl, both of them moving as silently as they could. Not making a noise was just part of the game. It was essential, because if anyone hurt them, they would have to stop playing. There were other rules, which they made up as they went along. Trivia caught a flash of bright hair heading into the family room. She wasn't allowed to go in there, but those were her parents' rules, and Neapolitan never cared about those. Trivia darted inside with a sense of dread, just as Neo. And the fairy princess, dressed as pink as her hair, hopped lightly onto the antique coffee table. Neo raised a white gloved hand to halt Trivia, and she leaned over and poked her index finger at the floor. As soon as he touched it, she yanked her head back, shaking it and blowing on her finger dramatically. Trivia gasped and jumped back to the doorway. They were adding a new rule to the game. Eyeboys rose. The floor is lava. I gotta chill. I'm gonna be anxious and read a book. That's page 1. They added a new room. Neapolitan nodded and stepped backwards onto the cream-colored couch. She bounced up and down on the cushions the way she wasn't supposed to, a taunting smile on her face. Trivia backed up several feet into the hall so she could get a running start. She took a deep breath before she dashed and sprang from the threshold to the embroidered Mistral rug. Mike, those are words. It slipped beneath her on the smooth floor and she almost tumbled into the lake of molten rock. But she got her balance and at the last moment, almost windmilling comically. It was only safe to stand on those things covered the floor without touching it yourself. The girls moved around the room in an acrobatic dance. They remained the same distance apart, like mirror images of each other. Neapolitan bounced gracefully from sofa to table to piano bench. Trivia followed more slowly, more cautiously, less steadily. Neo crouched on the edge of a console table to allow Trivia to catch up. When Trivia reached from the arm of a windbag chair to tag her, Neo backflipped out of her grasp, so he missed the girl's ankle and slapped something solid instead. The face stiffed and rolled. Trivia lunged, but her fingers only brushed against the face as it went over the edge of the table and plummeted into the darkness. The floor was not lava. It was hard, made from the oldest redwood trees of Revelfall Forest. The face shattered. The sound of tiny glass shards scattering around the room reminded her of a rain tinkling against the roof. The science, too, had been broken. Stop stuttering, Sean. I'm reading too fast. I can't keep up. It is fun though, I'm having fun. It's just been so long since I've actually read it out loud. Like I'm out of practice. Alright. The face had fallen down. Neapolitan, balancing with one foot on an end table, covered her mouth with both hands in shock. Her mismatched pink and brown eyes wide. Trivia froze. Maybe her parents had heard that. She hoped that she didn't, but the footstep overheard and then on the stairs, the light filling the house, told her it was just a foolish hope. Neapolitan turned around and retreated into the shadows, behind a small mountain of wrapped and ribboned boxes of all shapes and sizes. Birthday gifts! Trivia scrambled to find a hiding place of her own. She stepped her small body on the sofa just as the lights came on. Heavy steps. Her father's slippered feet stomped into view. Papa sighed. She broke the Akabara face. Trivia? Trivia, where are you? Mama called out. Trivia folded herself small on the sofa, eyeing the door. As she pressed a hand against the hardwood floor, she felt a sharp pain. She gasped. A silver of glass glinted in her palm. How had one of the fragments ended up here, clear on the other side of the room? Sweetheart, it's okay. We aren't mad, her mother went on. Get out of here right now, young lady, her father's tone of voice hinted at this barely controlled anger. His feet moved out of the view. Trivia, please, Mama's voice trembled. Jimmy, I'll check the other rooms. It was her mother's concern that convinced Trivia to come out. She stuck a hand from under the sofa. Before she could emerge, firm hands gripped her ankles and yanked her backwards. Oh no. Her hands squeaked along the floor as she tried to hold on. Her palm left a thin streak of blood in the varnish. Her father dangled her upside down from her ankles. The brown tulle of her dress gathered around her shoulders. She stared up at her father. He looked calm, wearing the same poker face that served him so well as city manager for the Vale City Council. Oh, the Vale City. Okay. But there was rage behind those shadowed eyes. She closed her eyes and covered her face with her hands. Why aren't you in bed? He shook her up and down, punctuating each word. Jimmy, that's enough, Mama said. He dumped her onto the sofa she'd been sheltered beneath, and she sat up, smoothing her dress anxiously. Mama knelt beside her and put her hands over hers. What happened? Tivia shook her head. If you're ever going to speak up for yourself, now is the time, Papa said. Say something, anything, and we'll forget any of this happened. That's not the right voice. Are you going to do ASMR day because ASMR day? Is it ASMR day? I mean, I'm just fighting. I want to read this book. I think it's popular. Is it really official ASMR day? I did not know that. But of course you did. That's a fun fact. I didn't know that. YouTube told you. That's fair. Well, I guess I just happened to line up. Okay. Is The trivia is it's like Neo. He is Neo, right? Is he can't talk. Let's see. Trivia opened her mouth. She wanted to tell him, but the words didn't come. As he could manage was a horrible rasping sound, like she was gasping for breath. Her throat tightened. Her eyes burned with tears. She clamped her mouth shut and shook her head. He tossed up his hands. What are we going to do with her? Mama Okay, these are the movies. What are we going to do with her? Mama stood and retrieved Trivia's combination board from the coffee table. Oh, see, they got a board to communicate? They handed it to her daughter. What are you doing down here? How did the face break? Tifia glanced at the table spot behind the pile of presents. Mama turned to follow her gaze. You came to sneak a look at your birthday gifts? ? She asked. Trivia shook her hands and slapped the communication board in frustration. With shaking fingers, she moved 3 letters around on the board. She held it up to show her mother. N-E-O. Spelling Neo. Mama read. So your friend broke the face. The weariness in her voice had nothing to do with the late hour. Don't encourage her, Carmel, Papa said. It's all in her head. Something she makes up to avoid responsibility. She just has an overactive imagination, Mama said. It isn't normal. Don't use that word, Mama whispered harshly. Dr. Mazarin says we have to give her space. She has plenty of space. This is what we got for her. He gestured at the broken glass on the floor. That was an expensive accident. It's only money, her mother's voice had a cutting edge to it. And the things I have to do for that money. For my family. He shook his head and looked upwards. Clean this up. His order didn't seem to be directed to anyone in particular. He left the room. Mama sat next to Trivia on the sofa, put an arm around her. Trivia snuggled in. Her floating heartbeat slowed, and she soon started to get sleepy. Hi, Tori. It's interesting. Talk to me, Mama said softly. Please. Trivia's eyes snapped open. She stifled in her mother's embrace. You know, Trivia, a friend who does something bad and then leaves you to take the blame isn't a good friend, is she? Mommy brushed Trivia's hair away from her face. Trivia looked into her mother's big brown eyes and was disappointed when her mother flinched and looked away. Trivia edged to the side of the couch and crossed her arms. Her mother's expression hardened. She stood abruptly. Fine, clean this mess and go to your room. Go to sleep. Mama walked away. She paused in the doorway and stared at the spot where near Paladin had been. Be careful of that sharp pieces. I don't want you to get hurt. She left Trivia in the room. Alone. Again. Trivia picked at the silver of glass protruding from her palm. The bright red spots on her fingers and thumb blurred from the tears in the eyes. When she had gotten the shard out, she wiped her bloody hand on the cream-colored couch. She picked up the communication board from the floor. The E had tumbled off, transforming the Neo into No. Trivia heard glass crunching. Neapolitan was stomping on the remnants of the face. Her hands balled into fists. Trivia waited for her to stop. Neo put her hands on her hips and glared at her. Trivia knew it was wrong, but she felt angry too, and it had looked like fun. She hesitated to stretch out a foot and placed her shoe over a chunk of glass. Neo clapped. Trivia slowly passed on. The glass splintered satisfying on the heel of her shoe. She kept pushing and turning her heel, grinding glass to dust. Neo sauntered out of the room, hands clasped behind her back. Trivia looked down at the mess she made, which Papa had told her to clean up. She shrugged and followed Neapolitan again, back to her room. Someone else would pick up the broken piece later. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. That was chapter 1. Okay, so... Neo, imaginary friend. Wait, no, Neo is the imaginary friend. That's pretty interesting. Seems like a bad thing. I mean, if you can speak at the year 8, I kind of understand. It's not like that uncommon, parents concerned if a child doesn't speak, and they probably went to the doctor and were like, doctor said something wrong, and the doctor was like, no, it's all, mental stuff. It's kind of interesting, though. Oh boy. Oh, it's nice. It got like. Okay. That's how we start with Neo. Chapter 2. Titled Lie. Roman Torchwick sat on the bench in Sakura Park, huddled behind a crumpled day-old newspaper. He was pretending to read under the flickering lantern, but he really was keeping an eye on the skanky nightclub across the street. Always looking for an opportunity. As with everything in the city of Mistral, the luck of the mountains was more than it seemed. He went there for the live music and overpriced watered-down drinks. He stayed for all the illegal gambling in the hidden basement. Or maybe people just liked the entertainment. The star attraction of the club, honey wine, was to die for, or at least she was capable of leading you to death. She had a powerful semblance, one of those special abilities some people had that often seemed like magic. Her sultry voice had an intoxicating effect on others, especially when she sang. It lowered people's inhibitions and made them feel good, even while they were being taken. Oh god, hold my book like that. Even while they were being taken for everything they had. Just brief snatches of song Roman caught whenever the door opened filled him with longing for something he couldn't put a name to, and conviction that he would find in the club. That's why he was hanging out on the other side of the street. So the music didn't lure him inside. Oh my god. Like the hapless pedestrians who passed by the club or tried to. As beautiful as wine and her voice were, Roman planned to keep a safe distance from both of them. Though he was only 18 years old, he already heard enough empty promises in his life. Another red-faced sucker was storming out of the club now. His green overcoat looked expensive and comfortable, warm, and just about Roman's size. He wanted that coat. Winter had come to Mistral, and the nights were getting colder. At this rate, he would freeze before he starved to death. But it would be close range to the end. More than that, Rowan was itching for action. He had enough of sitting around waiting for something to happen. He needed to be out there, making things happen. He dropped the newspaper to the ground and grabbed his wooden cane as he got up to follow his mark. The man just missed getting hit by a car as he crossed towards the park side of the street. He was the perfect victim, disoriented and oblivious, wealthy and stupid. Roman altered his course to leave the park and cross paths with the man just as he would pass the exit. Roman's styling was impeccable. He roughly bumped into the man, using the brief, distracting moment of contact to lift his wallet with him none the wiser. "Watch it," the man muttered, and stumbled on towards the stairs leading to the upper levels. City elevator didn't come down this floor. They kept more of a buffer between the haves and the have-nots. It was your business if you wanted to engage in illegal activities in Mistral's below. And people from the base of the mountain had no business topside. I sure will, Roman said cheerfully. This guy was one of those snobs who spent his nights and his money on lower levels, but had no respect for people who actually lived there, like Roman. That sort of attitude was one of the things that made the rich so easy to steal from. They held their nose so high they never noticed what was right under them. I know it sounds weird, but it's like singing. It's like I find like the right breathing times. I just gotta chill. I love Roman. He's so fun. So we got Vale and Mistral. Those are pretty far places from each other, right? Yes, I think so. Pickpocketing was low risk with high reward. Only this time it wasn't Roman's main goal. Aside from identification and credit cards, the wallet only contained a few lin, as he had anticipated. At the luck of the mountains, the house always won. The man might have been lured into buying too many drinks, or he had had bad nights at the table, which was about to get worse. Rowan waited until the man had just turned the corner onto a less busy street, and then hurried after him. The man weaved back and forth unsteadily on the road. When he reached the entrance to one of the many blind alleys Mister was famous for, Rowan called after him. "Excuse me, you dropped this." What's that voice? The man whirled around in alarm. The sight of Roman waving his wallet, a frantic and urgent look on his face, put him more at ease. The man patted his pockets. Surprise turned to dismay. "Where did you get that?" he asked. "I found it back at the club." Roman held the wallet out. The man grabbed for it, but Roman yanked it back out of reach just before he could take it. "Hey, it's getting kind of cold. Do you think you could help a fella out?" Roman asked. He's going for that coat. The man scolded. "I bet you stole that from me in the first place." Roman sighed. "Instead of being rewarded for a good deed, I get accused of committing a crime? What is this world coming to?" "I've dealt with people like you before. I'm not falling for your con. Return my property or I'll summon the authorities." "Fine. Here you go." Roman extended his hand with the wallet and then casually tossed it into the dark alley. "Oops," he said. The man glanced from Roman to the alley. He sized Roman up. A tall, scrawny teenager with his dirty orange hair tied back in a ragged ponytail. Actually, I think I've seen art of that. Roman knew he probably didn't seem like much of a threat, that had worked in his favor plenty of times. The man turned away from him and went for the bait. Roman looked around to make sure there was no one else nearby, and then he followed him into the alley. The man stooped to pick up his wallet. When he stood up, Roman walloped him in the back with his cane. The man went down and face planted on the crunchy cobblestones. Another thing that made the rich so good targets? They didn't know how to fight. The man moaned and rolled over, blinking and confused. "That's a lovely coat." Roman twirled his cane, casually but menacingly. He had practiced the move for hours in front of a cracked mirror he had dragged to his shelter on the switch black rich suspension bridge. The man started scrambling backwards away from Roman, deeper into the dark alley. The only light was from the windows of the buildings on the other side. A shadow passed in front of one of them, and the light went out. The occupants are clearly used to this kind of thing that happened in this area and were smart enough to stay to want no part of it. "Don't crawl around like that. You're getting my coat dirty," Roman said. The man pulled the coat tighter around him. His eyes darted back and forth, looking for help or a way out. "You can't have my coat." "Don't be a fool. You probably have a closet full of coats at home. You can buy a new one tomorrow." Roman snapped his fingers. "Like that." The man's expression shifted, showing Roman's word had hit home. The man was weighing the cost of protecting something he wouldn't even miss. The man jumped up and pushed past Roman with surprising speed and force, screaming, "Help! Help!" Roman sighed. Why do they always run? Why did they expect someone to come to their rescue? In Mistral, everyone minding their own business, unless knowing other people's business was their business. It was the only way to survive. If someone did hear the man's cries, they would be sure to head in the opposite direction, grateful that whatever was going on wasn't happening to them. Roman had learned that lesson early on. A year ago, when he had first come to the city, he helped a woman he thought was being mugged, taking a beating from her attacker before driving him off. The Roman had been arrested, and the ungrateful victim blamed him for the crime. It turned out he was a criminal. Roman had interrupted a shady deal that went wrong, but she took advantage of that chance to shift attention away from herself by accusing Roman of the crime he didn't commit. He wouldn't make that mistake again. On the streets, on your own, you only watch out for yourself. Anything else was a weakness. Anyone else was a liability. Roman drew his cane back and hurled after the man like a javelin. It traveled through, tipping him and sending him sprawling just short of the alley entrance. Roman walked over and picked up his cane. He loomed over the man. The man sat up at him with frightened eyes. "Please, don't," the man said. "What exactly do you think I'm going to do?" Roman raised his cane, gripping the shaft like a club. He advanced slowly, the man's eyes focused on the blunt instrument. It would be a shame to get blood on such a pretty coat. As long as none of it was his, Roman could call it a win. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be a punching bag? Roman asked. The man unbuttoned the coat with fumbling fingers. Here, it's yours. He shrugged it off and threw it at Roman. Roman caught it with the hook of his cane and swirled it around before taking it. He put it on over his threadbare black shirt. The coat was a little roomy, but it made it feel like $1,000,000. I'll have the gloves too, Roman said. If you please. You're kidding. Roman tapped his cane against the ground sharply. Am I laughing? The man peeled his black gloves off. Don't throw them. Hand them over to me, Roman said. The man raised a shaking hand. Roman took the gloves. He stepped them on. Better. Still warm. Can I go? The man shivered. Just one last thing. Roman brought his cane back and ripped it down to the man's knee. Crack. The man screamed and withered on the ground, clutching his leg. Tough break, Roman sneered. He watched the man claw away slowly, whimpering. Well, well, well. What do we have here, Mortar? A deep voice came from the outside of the alley. Looks like another young punk stealing from an innocent citizen brick. A higher-pitched voice. Here we go, Roman thought. He sauntered out onto the road, figuring he had the bad fortune to attract the attention of a couple goody-goody huntsmen. I love that. He nearly laughed when he saw the two men, one tall and broad shoulders, the other short and boxy. They wore purple outfits and sported spider and cobweb tattoos, identifying them as the members of Little Miss Marshallay organization. That's the kind of place Mr. was, where the gangsters wore uniforms and enforced their own rule of law. He recognized those goons. Once a week, they came around Peddler's Road to collect a tribute from the shops there. They always ended their night at the look of the mountains, and since they stayed for a few hours, Rowan figured not all of the kickbacks they collected were making it back to Little Miss. What's so funny? Rick asked, his cheeks and forehead flushed with angry splotches of red. For a second I was worried you boys were huntsmen, Roman chuckled. Mortar laughed along with him until his blick smacked him on the back of the head. You're that thief we've been looking for, Rick said. I'm flattered. It's nice to feel wanted, Roman said. Not by the police, of course. He eyed the two gangsters. He might be in trouble, but if he could beat them, the protection money they were carrying would get him a nicer place to stay. He would buy warmer clothes, stop eating cheap street noodles for every meal, take a shower. Maybe even move into a place with a roof and 4 walls. Fancy. If you steal from Patreons, you're stealing from the club. If you're stealing from the club, you're stealing from Little Miss Marisha. You have a unique grasp of social economics, Roman said. He tightened his grip on his cane's handle. Blake and Mortar had only guns and muscles, but they might have other tricks up their sleeves. Roman gave himself a 70% chance of winning a fight against them. That's a pretty good chance. He would never place a bet at the Luck of the Mountains, but he wasn't afraid to gamble when the odds were in his favor. No one operates around here without a little mess blessing, and you owe her back pay for everything you've taken so far, Mortar said. I don't need martial protection, Roman said. We'll see about that, the taller one, Rick, rushed forward. Roman sidestepped him easily, whacking him in the butt with his cane, sending him head over heels. Roman whirled around and swung his cane, knocking the gun out of the Mortar's hand as he fired. The bullet missed Roman by a hair. Roman spun his cane around in one hand to hook the hand around Mortar's wrist. He pulled and stepped back, staring him into Brick, who was just standing up again. They both went down in a tangle of limbs and curves. We've got a funny guy over here, Brick said. You two are jokes, Roman said. I'm just the punchline. Gripping each end of his cane, he bashed Brick in the face with its shaft. That's the sentence. Brick shook it off quickly and pulled his gun. Roman jabbed at his chest with the tip of his cane, pushing him backwards. Then Mortar tackled Roman's legs and he fell on his back, trying to kick the little guy off. Brick grabbed for his cane, but Roman held onto it. His opponent changed his tactic, pushing the webs against Roman's neck, choking him. With a bellow, Roman pushed hard and then pulled, unbalancing the ungentle giant. Roman knocked his forehead into bricks and the man collapsed on him, unconscious. Roman nearly blacked out himself, but he held it together and blinked away the dots flashing in his vision. Roman rolled Brick off him and looked around. Water was gone. Just as he always figured, little Miss Man with just your run-of-the-mill tugs. Bullies who didn't amount to much when they were challenged. Roman checked Brick's box and came with a tick. Envelope, stuff it lean. He would not be eating noodles tonight. It took the Spider Gang 2 days to find him. He heard them outside his room at the Happenstance Hotel a moment before they opened the door with a key. He steeled himself for a fight until he saw that Brick and Mota had bought 10 of their strongest friends, all in the same purple garb. Little Miss Marshallay had sent a small army after him. What took you gents so long? Roman asked. Marshallay's connections to everyone, it seemed, they should have found him much sooner. It might be over. They enjoyed the 2 days of the good life, with a full stomach and luxury baths and sleeping in a real bed again. Worth it. Little Miss wants a word with you, Brick growled. What if I don't want a word with her? Roman asked. What you want doesn't matter. Your life belongs to her. Ugh, my hair. Little Miss Marshallay wasn't what he expected. When the spiders dragged Roman into her tavern, she was seated in the back, neat stacks of lean on the table before her. She was in her 30s, with short blonde hair and a bitter mark on her one rosy cheek. Little Miss was renowned for having a strategic mind, which applied to her fashion choices as well. Her white and purple dress showed off bare shoulders, drawing the eye to the tattoo of a shoulder in a web on the left shoulder. A plunging neckline and purple corset distracted Roman even more. She puffed on the cigarette and held over. She was steady Roman with piercing blue eyes. "You been busy, boy," she said. "I'm not a boy," he said. "You ain't a man neither, not by a far sight." She knocked some ash from a cigarette into a purple ashtray at her elbow. You know what that makes you? What? You're just potential. You caught between what you were and what you could be. It's that crucial time where you can decide who you want to be. Roman raised his eyebrows. Today wasn't anything like he imagined. He couldn't fathom how she overthrown the old boss of the Spider organization and had taken over, or how she was able to operate so successfully under the watchful eye of Mistral City Council. But here she was, arguing the most powerful person in the city, outside of Leonardo Lionheart, headmaster of the Huntsman Academy Haven. "It's the guy who's been stealing from us, ma'am," Mulder said. Little Miss waved her hand. "What do you have to say about that, Mr. Torchwick? Roman Torchwick. And, ma'am, I think that says more about your spies than it does about me. I've just been doing what I've always been doing, trying to survive." "All he wants to survive? I'm disappointed. You seem like one of those ambitious types who always want more than they got." She smiled. "I'm like that too. Ma'am, when you don't have anything surviving isn't more. You've got to start somewhere. If I were you, I'd be more disappointed in brick and mortar here." "Shut your mouth," Brick said. "Do not shut that pretty mouth of yours," Little Miss said. "I sure do want to hear this." She glad that Brick and Roman didn't want her to ever look at him like that. Roman gave her a lopsided grin. "Here I am, a boy. And I just about bested 2 of your spiders. And everybody knows this. It took a dozen of them to bring me in. And I only cooperated because I wanted to meet you. With all due respect, your crew is a disgrace. If they can't lose to me when it's 2 against 1, how can they intimidate anyone? How can you trust them to get the job done? You think you could do better?" Brick growled. "With my eyes closed," Roman said. "Let's test it right now." Brick rolled up his sleeve. Lomas held up her hand. "Could you do better, Mr. Torchwick? Truly?" Roman paused. "I couldn't do any worse." "You really must set your sights a bit higher, show more fire, if you want to live up to your name." The tip of a cigarette glowed bright orange as he took a drag of it. "All right, you work for me now." "Ma'am," Roman, Brick, and Mortar spoke at the same time. "I like your confidence, but they're just empty words if you can't back them with action. Like I said, I see a lot of potential in you, Torchwick." "Should have seen him," Mortar spoke up. "He's vicious. He brutally beat a man just for his coat. He was having fun." "That's so. Well, I always thought it was important for one to love their work if you want to Be good at it, Loomis said. And if that's the coat he's wearing, he also had good taste. Do I have a choice? Roman asked. I tend to work better alone. He couldn't believe his luck being invited into the biggest conversation this side of Lake Matsu, but he wanted to play it cool. I thought it was probably pointless to play above someone who could see him so clearly. We always have a choice, but I can't let you walk after stealing from me. So I join you, or... She nodded. Or... She tapped her cigarette into the ashtray. She used the cigarette as a prop to puncture her words and redirect attention. Her appreciated her dangerous dramatic flair. Roman swallowed. Then honored to accept. Yes, you are. And we'll find out after all what you can do with your eyes closed. Roman frowned. How's that? You'll probably be swollen shut for a couple of days once Brick is through with you. Call it a punishment. Call it initiation. Either way, you've got it coming and you're going to take your licks. Loomis nodded to Brick. It was all a mistake. Roman thought as he watched Brick advance towards him, cracking his knuckles. Roman was good at learning from his mistakes, no matter how painful they are, as long as he survived to make another one later. Okay, that's chapter 2. I think I have my... Is it the same lady from, like, volume 6? I have to, like, look at the RWBY map. Because he's in Mistral, which is below Aldous, right? Or not? I don't know. I wonder how these two are going to meet. Okay, looks like we're going back to Neo.
Oh, God. Mustache.
Chapter 3. Painting the town pink. Despite living in a vale her whole life, all 12 years of it. Oh, we have a time jump. Trivia had never seen the commercial district at night before. She had only been there shopping for clothes, books, and toys with her mother. Whenever Papa sent them out so he could take care of business in peace at home, whatever that meant, she was never ever allowed out alone for your own safety, they said. The city in the evening was like a different world, as magical as one of her favorite fairy tales. She had no idea so many businesses were open this late, all our lights almost made it as bright as the day. She only caught glimpses of the broken full moon between towering buildings, and there were so many people. Strolling and shopping, couples holding hands while walking, groups of kids just hanging out, taking pictures of each other with their schools and uploading them, and not doing anything particular. It was so beautiful. It almost hurt. I love this, he thought. No, Neopo then nudged her with an elbow and raised her elbows. That's not eyebrows. And raised her eyebrows, not her elbows. That'd be weird. A combination of I told you so and you haven't seen anything yet. Tiffy had been worried about sneaking out during her parents' big party. Papa was celebrating a major new business contract he had closed. And Trivia wasn't invited. They had to order her to stay in her room, where she found a box of new video games to distract her. They insisted she would be dreadfully bored being around all those stuffy adults, but she knew the truth. They were ashamed of her, because she couldn't speak, because her mismatched eyes. On the rare occasion that she did go out with them, they made her wear a brown contact lens over her pink eye. Oh. That sucks. That's not nice at all. It's not that nice parents. It's like a... It's kind of cool to have like two mission eyes though. I think that'd be... Oh, that'd be like cool. Okay. Davy was good at staying low and staying quiet, haha. He had Pound doing as he was told, hiding in a room. Out of sight. Out of sight, out of mind. But the music and the laughter and the aroma of delicious food had gotten to her. Then Neil had a brilliant idea. A terrible idea. They wanted to stay out of the way, so why not leave the house? Even her bathroom had grown too confining, and she couldn't run around the house playing with Neil. But there was a whole white city out here to explore. She would be back before the party was over, Neil assured her, and her parents would never even miss her. She put on her so she put on her adventuring outfit, a white tank top, a brown blazer, and pants, and her favorite white sneakers with the pink hearts. Simply leaving her room felt like a transgression. She almost stopped there. But Neil shoved her into the hall. The loud conversation of the party guests nearly drowned out the expensive leather bed. Such a waste. Each step to the house towards the back door emboldened near her. Neil pushing her on and on and on until she was inside. She was frightened but exhilarated, like she was coming alive for the first time. Everything was new, exciting, scary experience. Riding the bus across town, sitting on the fountain in the square and watching people go by. Divya had no particular destination and no goal other than to see as much as she could before she had to go back to her normal, sheltered life. To live as much as she could, making up for lost time, and because she didn't know what she would get. Oh my god, my throat is starting to go. Making up for lost time, and because she didn't know when she would get another chance at freedom. Of all the wondrous things in Vale, including the arcades, bookshops, and movie theaters, Trivia's absolute favorite thing was the food carts. They sold food right there on the street, as if every day was the vital festival. And you could get anything you wanted: popcorn, cakes, burgers, milkshake, fresh baked cookies the size of a plate, sugar sponge candy, ice cream sundaes bigger than her head, streaming basket of fries with a dozen different dipping sauces. Trivia wanted it all, but she shouted on the chocolate and vanilla shake to start. Neil looked on jealousy while Trivia took her for a sip. Heavenly. The perfect balance of flavor, just the right consistency. What's wrong with your eye? A voice said. Trivia frowned and looked at the girl with the green streaks in her short, spiky hair. She was flanked by two other girls who had similar hair and identical outfits. Short-sleeved black jackets, pale blue tops, tight mini skirts with silver chain belts, junky boots. Was this a gang? The girls were only a few years older than Trivia, maybe 15 or 16, and she envied them for being out on their own and for dressing and styling their hair however they wanted. What is she wearing? Another girl said in a sing-song voice. Look at those shoes. Trivia's face grew warm. She's just a little kid, the third girl said softly. Nobody asked you, Heather. The girl rolled her eyes. Trivia lowered her head and turned to go, but the first girl stepped in her way. Hey, where are you going? We just want to talk. Trivia touched her throat and shook her head. You don't want to talk to us? The other girls giggled. She held up a hand and they stopped. I get it. You aren't supposed to talk to strangers. Well, I'm Cookie, and it is Max, and she sighed. Heather. You can hang out with us if you buy us shakes too. I'll take butterscotch, Max said. Mint chip for me, Cookie said. I'm good, Heather said. Like a typical Heather, to be honest. Neil stalked around them, hands behind her back, a scroll on her face. Tivia followed her with eyes. Come on, what's your name? Cookie said. Don't you want to be friends? Friends don't let friends go out dressed like that. Hey, how about after the shakes we go clothes shopping? Tivia shook her head again, tried to shove past Cookie, but the girl pushed her back. I didn't say you could go. Tivia narrowed her eyes. Neil made fists and jammed with her left and then her right in the girl's direction. Just leave her alone, Heather said. Let's go see a movie. Sure, whatever. Cookie stepped aside, swept out an arm to let Tivia leave. Tivia hurried away. As he passed Cookie, the girl tripped her. She landed on her hands and knees. Her shake spat everywhere, all over her clothes. Tivia stood up. Cookie and Max were laughing and pointing at her. She blinked. She blinked back tears. Her throat got tight. A crack appeared in the ground between her and the girls. They screamed and stumbled backwards as the fissure grew wider. Watch out, Cookie shouted. What's happening? Max said. Heather studied Trivia from the other side of the gap. Did you do that? Trivia glanced behind the trio. They turned and saw Neopode in there, her pink hair now in the same style as the clique and matching pink and white clothes. What do you want? Cookie said. Don't tell me you're friends with her. They could see Neo? Her parents had been catching glimpses of Neopode lately, and Tiffy was upset, which was more and more often these days. But she couldn't make her as sore as the smaller, inanimate illusions he pranked them with around the house. Creating another person was much more difficult than a vase of dried up roses and a broken step or a blood stain on the sofa. So her friends only lived in her head until now. It seemed that everyone could see her. Of course, seeing was one thing, but touching? Neopode smiled and punched Cookie in the face. Neo's hand shattered like glass. The impact rippled to her arm and breaking apart the rest of her body until the shards faded along with the original crack in the ground. But it wasn't all illusion. Cookie's hand was over her nose, blood gushing from between the fingers. Tiffy was almost as shocked as the girls were. He hadn't created anything with a resemblance as big as that crack before, or two separate illusions at the same time. Whoa, Heather said. Freak, Max shrieked. Cookie moaned and bubbled. The front of her pretty blue shirt was ruined, splattered with blood. Tivia suddenly noticed a small crowd gathered around them. Some people were holding up their skulls, taking pictures. She backed up slowly, people parting to make way for her. A sign of red and blue lights flashed. A black and white police car rolled up to the curb. A cop stabbed out. What's going on here? Tivia spun on her heels and ran. Hey, the cop said. Hey, stop! Oh no, 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 no. I'm in big trouble. Oh my god. I'm in big trouble. Tivia ran as fast as he could. Police sirens braying behind her. Flashing lights following her, casting a long shadow ahead of her. Stop! A voice blared up the car speaker. Tivia abruptly changed direction and tried down another street, only to find the end of it blocked by a chain link fence and construction signs. She heard a sharp whistle and looked up. Neopode was balancing on top of the fence. Hi, Ron. I'm just, reading, practicing. It's been a while. My my throat's acting up though. Oh, you went. Oh, I just took a sip. I I want to get back into reading stuff, like stories and stuff, and started watching RWBY. Found out they had books to my favorite characters. Had a backstory. I really wanted to read it, so I got it. And well, I have it's sort of I have a hard time focusing on stuff, right? Like you want to do something, but like for some reason you get distracted and you don't do it. So streaming is one enabling me to actually get to the book. I probably would have just faster, like actual nice page. And also I get to read out loud again. It's been God knows how long I've done that. Today might have been a bad day because my throat is like it could also be me being like a little uncomfortable to get this again for the first time, which probably that's probably it is because my throat is like straining a little bit. I'll get used to it. Oh, it's I always I love stories and all like certain ways like books. Oh my god. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get something more to drink. I just ran out. Um, Might be a bit better. Um, I love stories and everything. It's just that because um I'm dyslexic and in high school I was going to like a very boring book. Um, as being dyslexic is really tough, right? Because I could read the entire book and know like some of it. Not because I didn't read it or didn't pay attention. I did. I read every single sentence, but the way my brain works, it's not coming through, right? So one, reading it out loud makes me also hear it again, which is better. And I'm also really interesting in this book, so it's like nicer. It I got it. It's kind of funny, but also infuriating because there were people in my class that didn't read the books. They just read the summary, and then they did the same thing, like the same test, and it's like okay, and they got higher grades because the summary, like, was somehow better. Uh, I like how we have a fire in spring. Look, I am feeling hot, so y'all have to like feel hot too. That's a high cane. Yeah, no, it really sucked. Uh, English was nicer because the books were shorter and they're also more like because I was like high I could talk English pretty well. So the level of English reading the books we had were like 50 pages and they were like bold letters, which made them a lot nicer to read. Which made me love English class a lot more because I could read the stories and actually read them properly. This is front. This is front that they had developed for dyslexic people, which makes things reading so much easier. But books don't do that. So, but it's a really nice front they develop and actually works really nice. Because the way like some sentences they like get cut off, and I don't know it's like it's like reading fast and stuff. I mess up a lot because some of the words kind of blend into each other and they come through. But I still really love reading, and I'm glad I'm getting back into it. And this definitely a big like enabler for this, and I kind of like that. I mean, kind of trying to figure out what like enables me to do stuff, and uh, and see if that in that way like it works as like expanding my hobbies a little more. Cause oh my god, I want to do more stuff, but I either get distracted or don't have motivation. I do have motivation, but it's like it's not at the right time or something like that. It's messy, and I try to like unmess it, and I found a few ways I'm trying now, which is nice. All right, Neo was running away from the cops. Let's see. Hold on. That's a lot of chapters. 26 chapters. Okay. It's chapter 3, so we have a few to go through. I won't. Probably not gonna read everything today, because what's the fun in that? Besides, I don't think I can. Alright. Neopolitan was balancing on top of the fence, back in her own pink and white adventure outfit. She gestured for Tivia to jump up. Easy for you to say, Tivia thought. I'll have to do this the hard way. He started crowding. It wasn't as easy as it looked on TV. He had almost reached the top as he felt a hand close around her ankle. That's enough. Come down here, kid. Tivia held on tight, the metal wire biting into her fingers. She looked over her shoulder and pulled her on her leg, tried to shake his hand free. Think about it. Where are you going to go? The cop pointed at the big hole in the ground on the other side of the fence, with bare critters rising from it high above the ground. Please don't make me follow you. I'm afraid of heights. Tivia sighed. She let go. The cop caught her and lowered her gently to her feet. Now what's going on? The cop asked her. Why did you run? Tivia pulled out her skull to type out a response, but he grabbed it from her. Hey, answer me. She opened her mouth, but all that came out was a sob. She wiped her at her eyes, and brown she was crying. She was so tired, she sat down right there in the dirt. The cop crouched. It's alright. It's going to be alright. What's your name? Tivia pointed at the skull, then opened her mouth and pointed at her open mouth. You want to make up a call? He asked. She can't talk. His partner, a woman with graying hair and kind eyes, took the skull and returned to Tivia. Tivia smiled gratefully. She typed furiously and showed them the screen. I didn't do anything. Not my fault. Those girls have gotten in trouble before, so I believe it. That's why we were parked nearby. But you were involved with some kind of disturbance, the cop male said. His badge read alert. A rat? A rat. I think that's a rat. That's how he says his name. But it seemed kind of. Oh my god. It kind of seems like you were the victim here. The woman badge identified her as Officer Cloud. I just get you home. What's your name? If you typed Vivia Vanilla. Vanilla? As in Jimmy Vanilla? I didn't even know he had a daughter, Cloud said. Vivia shrugged and spread her hands. Here I am. Hey, maybe there would be a reward for bringing her home, Arvid said. His partner popped on the head. Dum-dum. Tivia sat in the back of the patrol car, head down, unable to look at the city as they drove her home. Still no answer. Cloud put down her skull. Maybe they are looking for her, Arvid said. Tivia rolled her eyes. When she noticed Cloud watching her in the rearview mirror, Tivia closed her eyes and folded her arms. The party was still in full swing when the car pulled up the driveway at their home. All the windows except Tivia's were lit, and lively music filled the air. Howard whistled. No wonder they didn't answer. That's still no excuse, Cloud said sullenly. I would like to say a few things to Trivia parents. So would I, Trivia thought. The circular driveway was jam-packed with partygoers' cars, so area double parked. Oh, a cop double parking? Yeah, that never happened. Who's gonna give us a ticket? He joked. See, that's what I mean. They escorted Tivia up the pathway to the large double doors of the front entrance. She dragged her feet more as they got closer. Anything you want to tell me before ringing that doorbell? God asked Tivia softly. When she saw Tivia's expression look, she apologized. Just nod and shake your head. Are they treating you okay? It's a good cop right there. Tivia hesitated for just a split second, but she nodded. Have they ever hit you? Tivia shook her head. Do you feel safe here? Tivia tipped her head to the side thoughtfully. Before she could respond, the door flew open and Camille Vanille stepped outside. She pulled the door almost all the way close behind her. Tivia saw men in tuxedos and women in sparkling evening dresses miling around behind her. Can I help you off? Mama caught sight of Tivia and her eyes rounded. Tivia, what have you done? Don't worry, she's alright, Officer Cloud said. She isn't in any trouble. Picked her up downtown. She got into a little fight. A fight? Mama shot Tivia at panting. Oh god. Why are the words spaced like that? Mommy shot at Tivia a penetrating look. Tivia shrugged. You'll explain all this later, and hope your father doesn't find you've been out. Mama glanced behind her, as though afraid he would come to the door and find them standing out here. Or that a guest would notice her speaking to the police. So you wouldn't know your daughter was out? Cloud asked. I had no idea. As you can see, we're rather busy tonight. Davy must have been in the room, or so I thought. Just like Neo had promised, they hadn't misheard it. Oh god. They hadn't missed her at all. If she hadn't gotten mixed up with those girls and used her semblance in front of strangers, she could have gotten back home without them being the wiser. The thought was as comforting as it was depressing. Something bad could have happened to her tonight, and they would have never known that either. They probably would have blamed her too when they found out. They're not good parents, you know? Doesn't look like it is. We'll let you go back to your party, but we may follow up with you later, Arvid said. Thank you, Mama said. She turned her attention to Trivia. Get inside. Go around the servants' entrance and straight up to your room. We'll discuss this before bed. To save us some time at the end of a very long night, write down what you did and just what you were thinking. Art and Cloud exchanged a look. Trivia started to head for the servants' entrance when she caught sight of Neapolitan inside. Her pink hair pulled up away from her neck, and wearing a shimmery black and white gown and long white gloves. She winked at Tivia and beckoned her inside with her finger. Tivia glanced up at her room. She took a breath as she pushed past her to the door into the foyer. Tivia, get back here, Mama called. Tivia ignored her and followed Neil as he weaved through the crowd. Her parents didn't want anyone to see Tivia. They didn't pay enough attention to her to ask to know when she was gone, or they couldn't miss her now. Tivia strategically bumped into the guests to make them spill their drinks, drop their plates. She's acting out. Makes sense for a child who's like not being given attention. That's pretty standard. He flexed her semblance a tiny bit, creating a mouse that scrambled from under the table and up a man's trousers. He yelled and shook his leg frantically, while his wife beat at the mouse with her purse. That's not a good way to do it. Earlier, Tivy had been too startled to enjoy the new things she could do with her semblance. Her parents had always punished her for using the power, warned her to keep it a secret. They'd been holding her back. What else could she do if she continued to develop her ability? As Trivia marched to the middle of the party, as he waved her hand, he said flies buzzing around the musicians' hats, sang the song they were playing wildly off tune. A woman found an eyeball floating in a champagne flute and flung it away from her, wrenching another guest and breaking the glass. Tivia stopped for a second in the midst of the chaos. He was grinning and smiled. Then he saw Papa, staring from across the room, jaws set and face purple with rage. Only he wasn't staring at Trivia. His eyes were fixed on Neopolitan. He was furious. Suddenly afraid, Trivia released her illusions as Neo faded. He curtsied to Jimmy Vanilla, and he turned his anger towards his daughter. Trivia trembled on his seething gaze. She had felt so strong and carefree a moment ago, but she had forgotten there would be consequences for sneaking out, disobeying her mother, disrupting their party, for showing off for something outside of the family. There would be questions and rumors, and Papa would have to pay to make them go away. Tivia cried for the second time of the evening. What am I doing? What have I done? She couldn't just make a mess and fade away like Neil without taking responsibility. When Neil had pushed Cookie, Tivia was the one the cops took away. He was the one the girls blamed. It wasn't me. It was her. Neil had encouraged Trivia to sneak out and walk into the party. But Neil was part of her. So did that mean it was Trivia doing all those awful things? She shook her head, trying to clear the confusion she felt. Deep down, she didn't regret the moment what had happened that night. She wanted to do it even more, even and worse. She was proud of herself. There had to be Neil's influence again. Trivia had to stay in control. To start with, she needed to apologize for everything. She would explain to Papa, make him understand that he hadn't meant any of it, and would never happen again. She took a shaky step toward her father. He shook his head slowly. His eyes turned. He pressed his lips together and pointed up the stairs. Tivia turned and fled to her room. Oh boy. The end of chapter 3. Oh, those are not good parents. Yeah, I feel like well, okay, if you're like a parent and your like daughter doesn't talk for like 12 days, 12 years, not 12 days, that's the word, like 12 years, like entire life, and probably went to a doctor. Doctor was like, I would check out the vocal cords, and the vocal cords are fine. And it is like a mental issue, right? Then you should like give her more attention, like, be like nicer to her. But I don't know, then looks like the father doesn't really care. Also, if my like child had like two different colored eyes, that would be sick. That would be awesome. I don't know why they would like hide her away. What kind of business is her father doing actually? Alright. I want to try to make it to chapter 5 if I can. And I probably have to take a break from speaking. Else, tomorrow I might be beat. I remember this one time I streamed for like, I don't know what kind of stream it was, but like, I think it was a Fiat stream, and I just keep on talking like forever. Like if I play a game, I usually end up focusing for a bit and then not speaking. But like Fiat chat, it's just me playing the game, so I just keep speaking a lot, and I did it for like, and then whenever I was like straightening my voice, I could feel it. I kept talking for like an hour. And at that point, the next day, I had lost my voice. Like I couldn't like speak for that day, and then the day after that, I was like a little rashy. It's weird. I don't know why. Probably just because I'm like, uh, it's good practice reading aloud. Okay, we are going back to portrait. Let me take another sip. Chapter 4. Steal. Like in the like stealing, not like the metal, but is that another stupid get rich quick scheme? High spend number 17. Brett hashtag 1. All I know is Melanie Malarche. Oh my god, names, I swear to god. She peered over Roman's shoulder at the notebooks he was writing in. I'm impressed, Roman snapped his notebook shut. Because? I didn't think you know how to read. You're mixing me up with Miltea again, she said in a bored voice. She always sounded bored. This time she had a reason to be after spending more than a week in lockdown. Hey, I can read, I just choose not to. At Twin Sister Brad hashtag 2. aka Militarius. That is really Militarius? Sounds like a Greek name. You're not making it easy on me. She went back to watching a Fauna soap opera. He was glad for the reminder of which was which, because it really was hard to tell them apart. Especially when they were with the same outfit. Purple halter tops, black cut-off shorts, and mid-calf boots. They say that the reward for doing a good job is it? Oh, what? They say that the reward for doing a good job is it because your job permanently? That the reward for doing a good job is that it becomes your job permanently. 4 years after he had joined the Spiders, Roman was now little Miss Malarche's right-hand man. Only partially because he was one of the few gang members to survive in one piece. So he was the only one she trusted to protect her daughters during one of the worst wars among the crime organization that Mistral had ever seen. Roman's reward for being the best was holding up in the safe house with two snotty, apathetic, spoiled teenage girls. He should be out there tracking down members of the rival organization, but instead he was forced to be a glorified babysitter. I assume plans 1 to 16 failed? Melanie sat down across from him on the table. It had finally happened. She was willing to talk to him because he had nothing better to do. They hadn't failed. Roman flipped through the pages of his notebook. I'm still planning them. So they haven't failed yet, Melanie said. You are your mother's daughter, Rowan replied. He didn't know who their father was, but he envied him for being smart enough to get as far away from his wacky memory as he could. And again, he was probably dead. So he was the only slightly worse off than Roman. What's the heist anyway? Materia asked. Melanie glanced up to the ceiling in exploration. It's a big robbery, like a bank or a train. Roman turned to the page where he had stretched out high span number 9. The Mistral Trading Company used the old Sever line to transport lean from their banks around the kingdom to Fort Charon. He turned the page. I have a plan to break into that too. So what have you done yet? Melanie asked. A plan needs people, and as amazing as I am, there's but one of me, Roman said. Little Miss had plenty of people working for her, Matilda said. He had never heard the girls call their mother anything but Little Miss. Roman closed his book and tucked in his coat. I wouldn't trust any of those goons to pull off one of those jobs. You are one of those goons, Melanie said. I know why you don't like working with a partner, Roman, Matilda said. Oh yeah? Enlighten me, he said. You don't like sharing. You want all the profit for yourself, Roman sniffled. Sharing profit means sharing the risk. Working with a partner doubles the chance of failure, but half the incentive. You just need the right partner, Melania and Matilda said. As creepy as it was when they finished each other's sentences, it was more disturbing when they said the same thing at the same time. Maybe. I just don't believe anyone is going to watch out for me as much as I will, he said. I do appreciate it if you didn't tell anyone about my plans. I told already, he said. He didn't know why he told them all that. It was dangerous, underestimating the brats. They might only be 13, but they were still malicious. Malicious? And malicious knew how to turn information. Even the most innocent to their advantage. Melanie smiled. Don't worry, little miss, wouldn't be interesting in any of your heists anyway. Roman narrowed his eyes. Why not? Being money. That's what Goon does. If you want to be a boss, you need to think bigger. Where does the money come from? The bank, Roman rolled his eyes. The banks move the money, but what makes the money? What does every kingdom need? Even I know that one, Matilda said. Dust. Dust. Maybe the Rugrats had a point. Dust powered everything, everywhere, from planes to trains to automobiles. The cross-continental transport system, the central communication network for all of Remit, relied on the power it generated, and so did the scrolls that used the CT. Every weapon used dust as fuel. Different forms: fire, ice, electricity, gravity, and many variations and combination thereof, having different destructive effects. If you had a semblance, many people used dust to enhance their special abilities in some interesting and devastating ways. The biggest name in dust was the Atlas-based Schnee Dust Company. Oh, we got Schnee. But they did the business in all 4 kingdoms, from mining and storage to commercial distribution and point of sales. And with many other companies vying for the still extremely lucrative scraps. If Roman could get a piece of that action, something yanked Roman's hair, and his head was pulled backwards by his ponytail. Ow! Don't do that, kid, he said. Can I braid this? Materia asked. Please? No. Materia grabbed his hat. Hey, do not touch the hat. Roman spun around and grabbed the guy's back. Materia tossed it past him like a disc to Melanie. Girls, that is not a toy. Give it back to me. Or what? You ground us? We've already been stuck in here with you for a week. Ugh. Melanie tossed the hat back to Materia, just out of his reach. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Tell little miss? Materia said. Roman sighed. On the bright side, the girls clearly needed to burn off a lot of energy, and playing with his head was literally keeping them out of his hair. Right. Fine. What do I care? He tossed up his hands. At least they weren't missing with his cane. At least they weren't missing with his new cane anymore. Now Roman had money and resources. He had to replace his old wooden cane with a metal one that not only was strong enough to deflect his sharpest blades and hold up on a tremendous force, but also was deadly on both ends. It was gripped with a grappling hook in the handle and concealed the flare gun in the tip that fired. What else fired us? Since causing pain and destruction were music to his ears, he had named the cane Melodic Quitchel. The only thing he had forgotten to include in the weapon of his dreams was a safety lock, which he leased when Malia had almost blown off his sister's hat the other day. He wasn't entirely sure that it had been an accident. He needed to get a big score and strike out on his own proverbial before the grades grew up. The brats were a handful now, but they'd be really dangerous when they got older. He hoped they'd get all the clear so they could go home before they injured or killed him, or each other. Of course, if anything happened to one of them on his watch, it would still be carnage for him. Roman's school bust. There was Chameleon, another associate of the Spider organization. He wasn't the biggest cranium in the box, but he was the most colorful, on account that their sembers allowed him to change the color of his skin. His ability could be useful for spy work, but sometimes it worked against Chameleon, and whoever was partnered with her. I think I know this person from the show. You have to trust the people you work with, and the people who work for you. So Little Miss had set up the buddy system for new recruits, pairing them with members of the organization so you already knew were loyal, not necessarily competent. Word was that getting matched with Chameleon was more of a hazing than training. Hazing. Hazard? Hazing. Roman found out why when Lomas ordered the two of them to follow a councilman in the hopes of finding dirt they could use for blackmail or sensitive information to sell. They had tailed the guy to the meeting with Jack Plum, one of Lomas' rivals who tried to have a finger on every pie in Mistral. That is funny. Jack Plum and every pie. Actually learned that from the Puss in Boot movie, which is a good movie. It's a fun little movie and it's good, and you should watch it if you want to. Wait, isn't it Jack Hornet? I don't think his name was Jack Hornet in the movie, but his name is Jack Plum. Okay. The plan was for Roma to cause a distraction outside so Chameleon could use her camouflaging ability to sneak into the room and record that conversation. It turned out he wasn't so good under pressure. As he got nervous, his skin shifted colors uncontrollably, which naturally drew the attention of Plum's guards. By the time Rowan made the Chameleon, the left side of her face was badly cut up. Rowan was notorious, vicious, and cruel when he got cornered. Rowan barely got two of them out alive. And he lied to Loomis about another gang breaking up the meeting, more to save his own standing than Chameleon's neck. Thus he had certainly suffered enough already at Plum's blades, and would always carry the scars to prove it. Chameleon read more into Roman's covering for her than she should have. They considered him her friend, and plainly wanted more than that. For his part, Roman considered Chameleon a liability. Semblances were overrated, and one that you couldn't control was worse than none at all. Still, she could be useful on occasion and fun to be around on other occasions. He continued to string her along. He answered the video call. Hey, Cammy, what's up? He reconsidered. Your sight for sore eyes. Her skin turned bright red. He's back, Roman, Cammy whispered. Who's back? You have to be more specific. A lot of gang members were on the lam when tensions ran hot, hiding out like Roman was. No, he wasn't hiding. The ghosts were laying low, and he was protecting them. The bird has landed. Cammy's skin touches to green. Did we agree to use a password or something? I must have missed that memo. Roman rubbed his eyes. On the far end of the room, the twins were pretending to be texting on their schools, but they were obviously listening to on this conversation. Oh god. Hi, Lynx. Hello. Hello. How are you? Hello, I'm reading. How are you? How was your stream? Wait, can I... I think it should work, right? Oh, it does. Okay. Thank you. I need to start doing that when people rate me. I tried to like have a command way back in the day, but it didn't work. But I guess Twitch added it. I think. Stream was fun. That's nice to hear. What did you do? What did you stream? Oh, Resident Evil 4 remake. I've seen a lot of people play that. It does look fun. Which it's a lot of fun. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Did they what was the one that they Robert missed the axe a couple years ago? They we made that one too, right? So did they skip Resident Evil 3? You wanna know something horrible? I checked out the Resident Evil movies and yeah, no, those were not good. They made that one in 2020? Oh, I missed that one then. Felt like that one wasn't really hyped up that much. I at some point play those games because I know people really like them and they look nice. They look fun. Big chapter, holy shit. I don't think I'm reading for like the first time in a while. That's true, that's true. See, oh my god, I need to like have like a what do you call those things that you put in books to like know where you are? I want to call them a book stopper, but that makes no sense. Those are things you put on the shelf. I need to find mine. A bookmark? A bookmark, yeah, right. I need to find mine because I know I have one. Just, it's probably in some book somewhere. I must admit. Let's see. Hmm. I have one really cool. That has like my name on it and stuff. It's been really fun so far. I definitely love the reading. Yeah, let's see. This book has about 300 pages. I might stop at 50 and call it a day there. been kind of straining on my throat so far. I underestimated that. Alright. Roman was talking to a chameleon? Wait, a squirrel. Uh, I can just. The bird has landed. Cammy's skin transitions to green. Did we agree to use a password or something? I must have missed that memo. Roman rubbed his eyes. On the far end of the room, the twins were pretending to be texting on the scrolls, but they were obviously listening in on this conversation. Maybe speaking in code was such a bad idea. I talked to the big bird in the house mouse. The way the unscared side of her mouth turned up. News he was having him on. Roman greeted Steed. Even I'm not bored enough for your riddles. Then he realized what he was saying. Alright, good work. Where is he? He turned the same shade of purple as the Spider Gang colors. You come home to roost. I hate you, Roman said. She blew him a kiss. In an hour, I'm going to tell the big boss what I just told you. But I thought you'd appreciate the heads up. Looking forward to seeing you again. All this message clears up. Roman tipped his hat to her. Then he remembered he wasn't wearing it. Take care, Cammy. Roman looked at the time on the scroll. He had only 2 hours left. That's not. He had only 2 hours. Would the girls be okay on their own for a little while? No little miss would murder him. She heard about him. Everything would go back to their mothers and his boss sooner than later. If she didn't like how things turned out, he'd be done for. So if he was going to act on this, he had to involve the twins and make sure nothing happened to them. And his plan had to succeed. That was a powerful argument to do nothing, but living in the 3-room safe house with the twin terrorists was making him itchy. And he almost anything to go. He would do almost anything to go outside. He pulled out his notebook. You girls want to hear about heist plan number 18? He turned to a flash page and drew. A moment later, he held up the book to show it to them. Malini peered closer. The 2 girls he asked scratched in the corner of the page. Are those supposed to be us? They are indeed. We have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to pull off a major job, a legendary job. But I'm going to need your help. Us? Materia asked. We're just kids. Malini jabbed an elbow into her sister's ribs. Roman smiled. That's why it has to be you. Malini handed Roman his head. We're in. You don't want to hear the plan first? I just want to do something. He pulled his hat back on. I could think better. He gestured for the girls to gather around him while he put the thoughts to paper. Roman and Melanie waited outside their parrot in the house. They didn't need to knock and they didn't need to wait long. Roman saw the blinds at the front windows twitch and knew they were being watched. The door opened, and Batcher, the parrot gang's bouncer, stepped out. He had his signature pool cue ball balanced carefully on his shoulder. Well. Yeah, Tortrick. This your new girlfriend? Ew, Malay said, as if. You know who it is, Tortrick said. Where's the other one? Don't twins usually come in twos? And your pals say you aren't that smart, Tortrick said. What? Badger advanced threateningly, bringing his pool cue around, stepping in one hand. The other brat is close, but safe. Seize my insurance, Roman said. What are you worried about? That you'll kill me and take both of them hostage? How about I kill both of you? Your boss would like that almost as much as my boss would. Sure, you know that. And if you don't, your backup in there does. Said yourself, the Mushroom Guilds come as a package deal. All pirate is one to settle for less than a complete set. Batcher flexed the pew cue and glared at Torchwick. But he stepped aside and swung his cue towards the door, gesturing for them to enter. I smell a rat, Batcher growled. If you try to pull anything, keep it down. The boss is a big fan of rodents, if I recall. He's got it under control, Batcher laughed. Mulaney stomped on the Took's foot as he passed. He bellowed and lunged for her. Bowman blocked him with his cane. She's just a kid, big man. Mulaney stomped at Torchwick's foot next. He catched his jaw and forced a painted smile. Gills will be gills. She and her sister will be your problem soon. Bowman had never been inside Paradine House before, as it was the headquarters of a rival criminal organization. But he had paid a premium for photos of the tavern and a detailed sketch of the floor plans, so he knew what to expect. Except for the basement. Everyone knew that with the exception of Paul Parrott, anyone who went down there never came back up. Which is why Roman was here. He wanted to see what was in the basement, and Mulaney was his ticket. A few Parrott gang members in green and gold suits watched as Batcher led Roman and Mulaney towards a stairwell leading up. He casually glanced over the room and made note of a door that hadn't been marked on his maps, but had to lead downstairs. The room over the tavern held a big dining table, and behind it sat the crime lord Paul Parrott. The man had deep tanned skin, likely because he spent most of the time running small operations on the coastal towns to the north. His greasy black hair was slicked back and he had bushy eyebrows and a hawk-like nose. He wore a deep green tuxedo jacket with a yellow bow tie and matching waistcoat, embroidered with an iridescent feather pattern. Without acknowledging their presence, he picked up a piece of dried toast from his plate and scraped butter and jam across it. Contemplating the toast in his hand, he spoke. Roman Torchwick, I should kill you right now. You have been such a pain in the ass, and yet... He took a bite and chewed thoughtfully. You've come here with a peace offering. Roman stepped forward. Batcher moved to stop him, but Parrott waved him off. He gestured for Roman to approach. You may not believe me, but I'm a big fan of yours, Roman said. Big fan of mine? You're right. I don't believe you. Parrott took another bite. Roman hated the crunchy sound as he chewed, just like why he was doing it. You work for Little Miss, Marshall. Crumbs spade from his mouth, hitting Roman in the chest. Roman pushed him off. How hard is he chewing? Holy shit. I want to work for you, Roman gestured to Melina. As you can see, I'm tendering my resignation. You want to work for me? So that's what this is. You can buy your way into my gang. The ransom you get for her and the sister will be more than that. More than enough. And you can demand truce with Little Miss. Might even be able to take over our organization. Aren't you tired of this war? It hasn't been good for business, though it has its moments. It reminds me of the old days. When I was a kid, the gang could get away with anything. Now we have to be sneakier about it and pay the law to look the other way. Why should I trust you? Of course you shouldn't. I am a criminal, just like you. But I'm not without honor, and I can't be a real asset to your organization. The way I've been to Little Miss Matrichet. Melanie harved. Perry repeated the sound. Indeed. The way you've been from a little much here you are, delivering daughters to me. Well, to be honest, they don't talk too much. Ugh, Melania said. You trying to play me for like a fool? Parrot said. Play you like a fool, Roman asked. Parrot threw the crust of his toast at the hand. Are you making fun of me? No, Roman said. No. Well then, who do you think I am? You want to trade for the militia girls? I offer you your life in exchange. Now go. But we already have the other girl, Torchwick. Found her stooping around behind the tavern, trying to sneak into the basement. What did you do to her? Roman asked. I let her succeed. Roman froze. You're bluffing. You're bluffing. It's obvious that you care about her, which means you're up to something. I know what people say, that there's a treasure in the vault beneath my tavern. Well, that's true, but there's something else there too. Young Milani is discovering my secret right now. You will not survive. Atoya? Milani said. Delia, who cares? Parrot calmly picked up another piece of toast. Melanie and Roman looked eyes. They heard a girl scream from far away in the building. Roman took off downstairs. It wasn't until he reached the landing that he realized Badger hadn't even tried to stop him. In fact, none of the parrots were standing in his way. And that worried him. But Delia was downstairs in trouble, and he had to save her and her sister. The door to the basement was locked, while he had been wanted to give his cane, Melodic Quetzal, a field test. He drew his cane and popped the decal up. He aimed at the lock, he pulled the trigger. A flare burst from the business end of the cane and destroyed the lock, along with half the door. He kicked the latch open and bolted down the stairs. Matilda was standing in the corner of the basement facing off against a large black thing. The bony white spikes and the glowing red streaks along his body mocked as a creature of the grim. The monstrous beast that roamed rampant, different only to destroy humans and faunas. They had never seen one like this before. It was like a rat or a mouse, only seemed 6 times bigger and uglier. The long black tail whipping back. Take it back and... I skipped the page. Skipping back and forth. Behind it had wide barbs on its end, as vicious as its sharp, elongated claws. Someone bumped into Roman from behind. He jumped. Melanie started to move forward, but he grabbed her. Go upstairs, he whispered. I'll take care of this, whatever this is. The monster had snapped around to stare at Roman's eyes blazing. It opened its mouth and hissed, revealing double rows of teeth as long as his fingers. You were saying? Melanie said. It's a capybara grim. A screen on the wall turned on to show Paul Parrot's face. Roman noted the camera's position all around the room. He bet the room for more than security. Parrot liked to watch his victim die. What a sick man. I've never heard anything like that in Mistral, Roman said. It's imported from the desert of Megare. Managerie, there we go. The parrot syndicate has been acquiring capybara for a very long time. This is how you make your enemies disappear. This is how I make my enemy disappear. The door above them closed, and Roman heard something heavy being dragged across the floorboards blocking. You want to see my treasure? Here it is, Parrot laughed. Keeping a grim in captivity is incredibly stupid and incredibly dangerous, Roman said. Roman squeezed Melena's hand, reassuring he needed her and her sister to remain calm. Roman had fought Kim before. They sometimes get past the city cars and went on a rampage, especially in less protected settlements like a wooden path where he had grown up. But when you face that every day on the street, the grim weren't so fearsome. At least it was a quicker death than freezing or starving. Roman had fought Grim before. He had never killed one. Usually he held it off long enough for him to run away. But I see plenty of huntsmen and huntresses take down Grim. It didn't look that hard. First order of business was to get away from Melanie and Milton so they could escape. The back door, Roman whispered. Look for your opening. Melanie gave him a willing look. The miss would be upset if she didn't get to kill her herself. We're staying to help. Okay, I tried, Roman said. He moved in onto Capifara as Melania and Matera took up positions on either side of it. The grin twisted around, turning on each of them. It snapped at Roman, and he smacked his snout with his cane. It lunged at him, razor black claws flashing at his face. But he parried with his weapon, and stepped to one side, firing a flare at one of his eyes point blank. Black goo splattered from his ruined eye. He was angry now. The grin leaped for Roman again, but it fell short. Milady and Matera were holding onto it still. It scrambled around, chasing the end of it, and then they let go, a car built to safety. It's pathetic, Roman said to Parrot. You're pathetic. I really did respect you. I thought I wanted to be you. But I seen all of this, you didn't earn it. I didn't. You inherited the Parrot Syndicate from your uncle. I did kill him for it. And he inherited it from his father. Roman dodged another blow from the grim. He shot flatted, and it backed up to the same corner it had trapped Materia in moments ago. It stabbed at him. Roman hooked his cane to its upper lip like a fish on a line, turned and flipped it overhead. Cauliflower landed on his back and screeched. You didn't even capture the Grim yourself, Roman said. How dare you? Paul screamed. How dare you? How dare you? I think you broke him, Malaya said. Roman fired a couple times at the Grim tail before hitting it, severing its barbed tip. Even without it, it was still plenty deadly. You need, you need to be more daring. Roman went on. You are like little Miss Marchelet. She faced her first. She earned the syndicate and made it her own. And the people love her for it. That's why we're loyal to her. The Grim hesitated. It looked at Roman, Melania, and Tara, and it turned to look up at the stairs. It sniffled. Why won't it kill you? Parrot screamed. Roman lowered his cane. Grim are drawn by emotion. You never told it. It killed your enemies because most people you drop in are going to be afraid. They won't be able to fight back. Roman smiled at Melania and Materia. As far as I could tell, these kills don't feel anything. And I'm not afraid to die. Melania and Materia rolled their eyes in tandem. Kill them, Parrot shouted. Kill them! The cauliflower hissed once more at Roman, then ran up the stairs. It made short work of the barricade at the door. The men upstairs shouted. Roman heard Badger scream, and the sound of the poo coop snapping in two. Then it was quiet. Anger can be more powerful emotion than fear, Roman said. Grim coming right for you, pal. Roman looked at the screen next. Parrot was gone. Probably had an escape route. Roman would in this place, but he hoped that the Grim would at least chase him for a bit and make him sweat. Did we just let a giant round-nosed Grim loose in the city? Melanie asked. That's what the huntsmen and hunters are for. They will handle it. And if that takes some of them out, that's just gravy. He led them upstairs. Girls, you were terrific back there. All in a good day's work. Maybe we don't need to tell your mother about this, Victoria said. Top the stairs, spider reinforcements were ready for them. All things considered, an angry little Miss Marchelet was the scariest thing Roman had faced all day. She had him knit next to her, balls of cottage cheese before them. Roman eyed the lumpy white mess as he pushed berries around with his spoon. What is this supposed to be? Roman said. Put her spoon down, finished chewing, dabbed her mouth with a napkin. Cottage cheese. Yup. What's cottage cheese? I know what's in the bowl, but I don't know what this is. Is it a reward? Is it punishment? Think I served you my favorite food as punishment? Well, what do you think you deserve for that stunt you pulled, Torchwick? He glanced down at the bowl. He scrunched up his face. I think it's a punishment. Maybe it is. Maybe knowing where you stand with me now is all the punishment you need. She pushed the bowl away and turned to face him. With relief, he pushed his untouched bowl away, too, and looked at her. I trusted you with my girls, and you offered them to one of my rivals. It was a ruse, and they agreed to it. They're teenagers. What were you doing when you were their age? One of her eyebrows lifted. Exactly. Don't underestimate them, he said. Never. We're afraid you'd almost get them killed by a Grim. Which my crew then had to destroy. Thereby earning the spy some goodwill in the city. He took away Paris' most valuable possession, and he used to make people afraid of him, and he was arrested. It all worked out. He paused. Just like I planned. Roman grabbed the spoon from his bowl and started to take a bite. Little Miss knocked it from his hand with her fan. Globs of cottage cheese spattered on Roman's face. And the fact that it somehow all worked out is why you aren't that Torchwick. He glanced at the cottage cheese nervously. See if it poison in it? It isn't why I'm upset. I'm upset because she acted on your own instead of coming to me. Seem more interested in your own personal gain, little Miss said. I only had your best interest in mind, ma'am. As always, I had to act swiftly to take advantage of the opportunity. I I've already managed their communion, the almost said. The only colors to be able to be for a while are black and blue. Though if she had told me where you went, spy wouldn't have been there in time to save you. They didn't save us, they weren't even there. Oh, they saved you. Because if you had tried to keep that massive screw up a secret, you would be wishing that Grim had killed you. Consider this your last warning. Don't ever go behind my back again. Worried I'll see the knife you're hiding there? When I kill you, Torchwick, you know it's coming. She reached over and wiped the cut cheese off his cheek with her finger. Almost like a caress. Is she flirting? He suddenly wanted. He hadn't even considered that she might like him, but if that was the case, he could use that too. A sharp fingernail grazed the skin dangerously close to his right eye. And death won't come from a knife. She turned away from him and picked up her own spoon. Go on now. Get yourself cleaned up. Without this activity and the Paris out of commission as a low in the war. As a low in the war. A low? I've never seen that word. That's a low in the war. Safe to come out from hiding for now. Almost stood up and surprised to feel how shaky his legs were. He was probably just tired. It had been a long day. Just to be clear, I wasn't hiding. The girls were hiding. I was just guarding them. She stopped him before he left. About that. Naturally, I can't torture you to watch them again. I understand. He held his grin in until he was back on the street. Because of course, that had been his true goal all along. A very calculated risk to demonstrate that when it come to babysitting, he was the wrong man for the job. Last thing he wanted was to be responsible for some kid. That's some foreshadowing right there. that's definitely some foreshadowing. That's a lie. That's some foreshadowing. Okay. I think these events are happening at the same time. So currently Roman is about 22 and Neo is 12. At least I think that's how they're working. Okay, we're now at chapter 5. I'll end it there for now. I wonder when they actually gonna meet each other. I need to find my boy. I put in between my. Oh, by the way, I also have like a book of like fairy tales, but I don't know if I can read that because it's just the stories are very short. They're like 10 pages. We got 10 pages, 6 pages, 6, 6, 8, 8, 6, 10. They're very short stories. So I might do them all in once at some point. Who knows? That's cool. One time in like Zenith, like VR game, I was just hanging out with people, and I took kind of parent duty from some guy. You weren't actually parents. They were like leveling up, and it was like, I think a teenage girl and then yeah, a bit younger boy. They were just leveling up. They're just playing the game, and I took over parent duty, and we were trying to do this one thing together with this the boy. Yeah, he had to do like one more quest, but it was really funny because he kept messing up. Or like his game kept messing up. Something kept messing up, and it was kind of funny because we would always just see him fly away, and after like 10 minutes he would come back. He would just see him swoop in, and you can fly in that game. It's a really fun game. Um, and he would have done nothing. But he would like have done nothing at all. Uh, but like it was like 6 a.m. for me, which is it the right time to be awake? I don't know. But it was midnight for them, right? So like they're young. It's midnight. They should go to bed. But this the girl did not want to go to sleep at all. She was like, I'm gonna pass out in fear, and I'm like, no, don't do that. I was trying my hardest for them not to pass out in fear. So we made like a deal. It was like maybe a bedtime story, and I'll go or something like that. And now I have a book with stories I can pull out and read them a story because that's like a favorite thing for me to do. If I become like a parent, I will definitely do that for my kid. That'd be like the most fun thing I could do. There are so many. RWBY has like opened up my like literature, like my like literature passion again, and it's great. I love it. Like I want to read so much more now. But not today anymore. Been about 2 hours. That's pretty nice. That's not bad. I like the campfire, but Alex did make a good point. It is like spring, so I'll see what else I can like chill with. So definitely, I do like the background music of like the fire, like the. I do enjoy that. I'll think about that. For the time being, what? Um, I'll just put this in between the pages. Find my bookmark. I have a really nice one. Is it here? Oh, it's such a mess. Okay, I'm not gonna find that now. That's not gonna happen. So far, I've loved this book. The cover is also really nice. Okay, put that away. Should I wait? Okay. If someone's is like doing a chill thing too, um, I might rate them. If not, I'm just gonna end stream because the last thing I'm gonna do is after chilling, rate some guy who's screaming. You know. Let's see, we have Resident Evil, GTFO. Uh. Oh, is someone? Hold on. Oh. Okay, you're. I see someone doing art. That might be chill. They're starting soon. Oh, never mind. It's that person. Okay, not to be like a hater or anything like that, but I'm not gonna unfollow this person. I didn't realize we nerd rated them like way back, and then turns out they were kind of a bit mean to my friend. So like I don't know if I wanna. Got Minecraft. Yeah, I think we can do Minecraft. Okay. Okay, that's chill enough. I think that's good. Okay. If not, I've given guys a warning. Now, actually, I think I'm more comfortable just ending it here. I would love to rate. I love rating people, but I'm just gonna. It doesn't look that chill. They're fighting the Ender Dragon. That's not that chill. Okay. Oh, thank you all for joining today. It was really fun. I'm definitely gonna do this more. Maybe every Sunday if I can. We'll see. Um, I love reading. I love that this enables me to read. Hopefully I'll get better at it too because it's been far too long since I've done anything with reading besides of course phone and Twitter. I guess that counts as reading, but not really. It's different with books. It feels a lot different with books. Um, yeah, I hope y'all have a good evening and I love y'all. Okay, y'all take care of yourself. I will too. That's our pact. That's our contract. Bye bye.